Whether you are a student, beginner, or someone looking to enter the DevOps field, today's session has something valuable for everyone. Let's get started. Before we begin, let me briefly introduce Empeer. Empeer is a tech community by Empeer Develop created to help students and professionals learn modern technologies through practical learning and industry interaction. Our community focuses on workshops and seminar, hand-on labs and live demonstration, networking and mentorship, training and certifications, hackathons and challenges, final year project guidance, and industry talks. Our goal is simple: to bridge the gap between academic learning and industry skills. Before we begin, we love to know a little about our audience. If you like to introduce yourself, feel free to jump in. Please raise your hand. We will unmute your microphone one by one. Kindly keep your introduction brief, just one line with your name and what you do or study. We are excited to get to know our community. If anyone want to give their introduction, please feel free to jump in.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. I'm audible.
Yes.
My name is Sheikh. I'm from Air University. Currently, I have done my 6 semesters and I am into AI engineering and want to learn about DevOps also. Did you guys hear me? Am I audible? Kindly confirm.
Yes, yes.
Okay, this was my brief introduction.
Anyone else?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bashir Amjad and I am software engineering student and have completed my first semester. I am learning Flutter and web development and I am interested in DevOps.
Hello everyone, my name is Ali Safir and I'm working in Stewart for 4 years, and right now I'm just learning about the DevOps, how it works, about containerization and the logs. We just wanted to accept that how we can just deploy the applications on Azure as well.
Hello, my name is Ali Mansoor, and I am basically working as a development engineer in PipeMath. And I am interested in learning DevOps, in how the DevOps is used in industries, and how the tools and technologies connect to each other, and how we use it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Now let's take a quick look at today's Then Hour agenda. Every Saturday we follow a simple and engaging format. We start with a 10 minutes welcome and introduction, then 20 minutes of tech news covering the latest trends and updates. Next is our 20 minutes founder spotlight, where industry experts share their journey and insights. Finally, we wrap up with the 10 minutes interactive question and answers, where you can ask questions and join the discussion. We encourage everyone to participate through the session and make the most of this learning experience. Now let's get started. It's time to introduce today's speaker. We are delighted to welcome Bilal Haider. Bilal is a cloud and infrastructure engineer and a certified Kubernetes administrator. His areas of expertise include DevOps, cloud infrastructure, platform engineering, Kubernetes, production system, CI/CD. We are excited to learn from his industry experience and practical insights. Please join me in giving him a warm virtual welcome. Without taking much of your time, I would now like to hand over this session to our speaker. Bilal, the stage is all yours. We look forward to learning from you.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes.
So let's start. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Bilal Haider. I have over 4+ years of industrial experience. Initially, I started my career as a full stack development developer And then after 3 years, I switched into a DevOps role. So from the past 1.5 years, I've been doing platform engineering and DevOps roles. So in today's session, uh, we will be going to first discuss some things about this DevOps, and then we will move towards our live deployment that we will be deploying a full stack application, front-end and back-end. So is my screen visible? Ikra, can
Yes.
you confirm? Okay, thanks. So let's first discuss our agenda for today. So we will be doing some introduction to DevOps, and then we will discuss that how DevOps is used in industry, what problem does the DevOps solves, and what are the workflows that we use in the industry, especially multiple environments. Then we will discuss a little bit about CI/CD pipelines, then our deployment architecture for today, and then we will move toward our live demo. So starting from why DevOps, I want to clear one thing that initially we want to keep this a mid-level session, but then after the forms responses, we gathered information that most of the 85% of the participants here are the university students. So we have kept this one very basic session, and in the next session we will go in some advanced things. So let's start from why DevOps. So actually, before the DevOps, the things were in the industry were very slow because the code has to be shipped from the developer to the production environment. That multiple steps includes. First of all, the developer has to hand over his code to the some build agent. Then some DevOps guy or some machine will build a code, and then it will forward the release to the QA engineers. QA will test, and if everything will go right, they will take the approval from team leads, project managers, and then it will be go to the production. So in this whole process, everything was very slow. There were a lot of manual steps. So obviously, there were many manual errors, and a lot of poor collaboration was included in this whole step. So to solve all of these issues, DevOps comes uh, in the industry. So actually, let's start from what is DevOps. So DevOps is not any tool. DevOps is not a particular skill that we can say. DevOps is a culture. It includes a lot of tools. When we use a lot of tools together and when we automate everything, that is called DevOps. So DevOps is a culture. It is a combination of automation of every workflow, of everything. It collaborates every steps together. So developer, QA, platform engineers, everyone is collaborated on a single platform, and obviously, by this, the speed of our release, our deployment get increased. So this is a DevOps. So let's move towards the DevOps lifecycle. So this is a very popular and infinity rule of DevOps, where first code is done, after then code is built and cases are run. Also, the QA engineers that's the release here. Then the release goes to the production environment. They get deployed, and then operations are done on it. We monitor that how our release is acting. Then we can find some whatever the feedback is, and then we go back to our planning step and can improve by coding. So this is an infinity loop of a DevOps. So one thing major I want to discuss in this session that how DevOps works in the industry. Actually, when I graduated from the university, I didn't know about environments. So when I get into the industry, I get to know that, okay, so every team has its own environment. First of all, the developers code on their local machines. So you can say that is a development environment. Then once they are done with their code, they push to the GitHub or some any SCM, and then the release is built and deployed on a QA environment. So QA environment is a separate environment, and on that environment only QA engineers test it. No one other uses the QA environment. Once the QA gives approval of the release of the code, then it went to the pre-prod or UAT. UAT is also known as a user acceptance testing. So on this environment, everything is finalized, but it is tested once before pushing to the production. So on UAT, you can't do QA. On UAT, you only do the real testing of the app. And once when the UAT is confirmed or the pre-prod is confirmed, then the release is pushed to the production. So every environment that is shown in this slide is a completely isolated environment. So I'm going through the slides very fastly because I want to spend more time on the practical. So they are almost 10 to 12 slides. I will be going very fastly from them. So
Sorry to
let's,
interrupt you, Bilal, but can you check your mic, please? I guess the voice is coming low.
okay.
It's audible, but if it can be, like the pitch can be enhanced, if you can check that. Thank you.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Uh, does it improve?
I guess the pitch is low.
Okay, I will try to talk louder now.
Okay. Thank you.
So let's do some introduction to CI/CD. So CI/CD is a simple pipeline. You can say a simple pipeline that includes many steps in it. First, the code is pushed to the GitHub or some Git repository, artifact repository. Then from there, any tool will take the code and will build it. Then it will push to the some QA environment or the test cases will be run on it. And after that, it will be deployed on the servers or on some environment. So everything here is a CI/CD. CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. In this Git push and build is comes under the continuous integration, and the testing and deployment comes into the continuous deployment. Four of the most majorly used CI/CD tools in the industry are one of GitHub Actions. I think most of the people have known know about it. Then Jenkins, it is a very old tool, but still it is widely used in the industry, GitLab pipelines and Azure DevOps. So these four are the most popular CI/CD tools. So one of the student also asked this question in the group that what are the core skills of a DevOps engineer or what are the prerequisites? So first of all, let me be clear with it that Linux systems and Bash scripting are the core of DevOps engineer. If you don't know about the Linux, Ubuntu, Bash scripting, then it will be very hard for a DevOps engineer. The Linux system, you can't learn the whole in a single day. You will learn it with the time. Bash scripting is simple command lines, simple commands, but grouped in a single file. After that, the networking comes in, the DNS, IPs, ports, protocols. This comes all in the networking. And then one of the most important thing is the containerization because everything in the production or in any environment runs in a container. Your code does not run simply without getting built. Uh, okay. Okay. So uh, we will be deploying a MERN application today. So front end will be on the React.js, backend will be on the Node.js, and DB will be MongoDB. We will first start. Okay, just give me a 1 minute. Okay, let's start from the front end deployment. So we will be deploying the React on Vercel. I have choose Vercel because it is one of the most easy platform on which we can deploy. After that, we will deploy the backend on an EC2 instance. We will create an EC2 instance in the AWS, and then we will deploy it and will also attach SSL certificates and web reward proxy and Nginx on it. So for deploying on the Vercel, it is very easy. So we will connect our repo with we will connect our Vercel with GitHub. Then we will build it and then we'll push it. Everything all the CI/CD will be managed by the Vercel. So let's move towards the implementation part. So this is we have this front end, and if we start it, I can show you guys that what is our application. So it is a simple to do app from in which you can do login, log out, and can put some to dos in it. So it is just a dummy application. So here, like this, you can do login, you can add some to dos. So it is just a to do application. We will deploy it. So let's start from the front end. Uh, Maybe uh, most of you are well known by the Vercel. So Vercel is one of the cloud platform that is most widely used for the front end deployments. So it gives you a lot of features like CI/CD. It gives you firewalls, it gives you CDN. So we will be working from the basic today. So we'll deploy our GitHub repo of the front end here. So first, let me show you my front-end repo. So this is a front-end repo of the same project that I show you of the to-dos. So let's deploy it. Once we will come on the Vercel. When you will log in the Vercel first time, you will come to this screen, and obviously you will not see any projects here because I have already deployed some of my projects here. So this will be clear. After that, you will go to add new project. In project on the first time you will not see any repo here. So right now, as you can see, I also can't see my front end repo here. So let's edit. I will configure my GitHub app with the Vercel so that Vercel can pick the code from my GitHub. So it is requesting authentication code.
Bilal, I think you are mute.
Oh, I'm not talking. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Kra, just wait for 2 minutes. Let me change my mic.
Okay.
Am I audible, Ikra?
Yes.
And is my voice clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So we were there in Vercel, where we authenticated our Git with Vercel, and now I can show my repository here. Now let's import my repository. Imported. And now it is asking for me that what environment variables will be used in the deployment. So if I go into my repository, as you can see that I have one of the major environment variables that is of my backend API. So I will be adding it. And its value will be of my backend. So right now my backend ENS is this one. So I will repeat myself. First of all, we have connected our GitHub repo. We have connected our main branch. Then we gave it a name, and then we added our environment variables. So let's deploy it. So you can this is the CI/CD. So CI/CD, what CI/CD did, it picked my code from the GitHub, then it built it and it deployed on the servers. So right now we are not aware of CI/CD a lot of much. That's why I used Vercel. But in the next deployment, when we will be hosting on the EC2, our backend, I will explain the CI/CD in Explain. But right now, all the steps of CI/CD that was picking up the code from GitHub, then building it, and then deploying it is done by the CI/CD. So now Vercel has given me a domain, and if I visit my domain, you can see that my uh, code has been deployed. So this is the power of DevOps, that you can deploy things, you can deploy new things in just a matter of seconds or minutes. Otherwise, if you want to do everything manually, which we will be doing in the EC2 instance, you will note that how much time it takes. Okay, so let me explain this Vercel again. Vercel is a cloud platform which is used for deployments. Majorly, it is used for the front-end deployments. The best thing for the Vercel is it is very easy to use. It offers a built-in CI/CD. You just have to add your GitHub repo, and it deploys yourself. Then it offers you firewalls, it offers you CDN. Also, one of the most important thing that it is popular is that it offers a lot of things for free. Right now, I deployed this thing completely free. But yes, if a lot of traffic will be coming on it, then obviously Vercel will charge money. So I think that we are good with our production, with our front-end deployment. And if I do something, let's suppose call some API, so you can see that it is calling my backend API that I put in the environment variable. So every repo, every code, whether it is of front end or it is of backend, it requires some envs. So you have to add environment variables there. So now let's move towards our backend repo. So first I will explain my backend repo a little bit. So backend is a Node Express, a simple REST API. It uses the MongoDB as a database. So you can see in the envs, it requires a JWT key. It requires a port on which it will be running. I have given it 5000, and then it requires the DB URI. So right now I have made a DB on the MongoDB Atlas. That is a MongoDB service on cloud. So I have created a DB there, and I have added my URI here. So don't use my credentials because I will be discarding it, deleting them after the session. Okay, so let's start from creating an EC2 instance on the AWS. So I think almost everyone has heard of the AWS. So AWS is the most popular, most widely used public uh, cloud. It offers you a lot of services, like hundreds of services. It gives you compute power, it gives you storage, it gives you CDNs, storages, you name it, and it will provide to you. So right now, our agenda is that we will build an EC2 instance, and then we will deploy our application there, and then we will launch an AWS EC2 instance. We will install Node.js. We will clone our project. We will start our app, and then we will expose it to the internet using a domain that is encrypted using SSL certificates. One Okay, let's move to the AWS part. Let's go to the launch instance. This button is used for creating VMs, servers, you can say virtual machine. So on the first field, it is requiring us some name. Let's give it notebook backend. Then it is asking us that what OS we should run. So it depends on what type of application you are running or how much familiar you are. For example, I'm familiar with Ubuntu and it is easy to use, so I'm going with Ubuntu. But if you are working enterprise in industry, you will probably be doing Red Hat. And if you are, let's suppose, doing some .NET thing or you want some window machine, then you can also require window, and you can also bring your own OS here. So I'm going with Ubuntu here first, and then I these are the families. So families are that how much resource or compute power do you need. For example, a Nano offers 1 CPU, 0.5 GB of RAM, and the list goes on. So I am selecting a T2 Micro, maybe. Then it is requiring me a key pair. So how do you connect with a remote server with a VM? You majorly connect with SSH key. So there are majorly two types of authentication. First one is username password, and the second one is SSH key. The username password is not recommended because it can be cracked easily by a brute force attack. But SSH keys are the best ways to log into a server. So we will create a new pair of SSH keys. So these two are simple algorithms of SSH keys. Notebook. So I'm keeping my SSH key name notebook. I will be selecting this one, and because we will be using an SSH, so we will be generating a .pem file. It has been generated and we have downloaded it. Now let's move forward. We need to create a security group. So let's talk a little bit about security group. So security groups controls that what traffic is incoming and what is outgoing from the VM. So let's suppose some traffic is coming on the port number 100 and you want to block it. So you can do from the security group. Same is the case with outgoing. If you want to block some of your port, you can simply block it from the security group. So we have allowed SSH traffic from everywhere right now. But in production or in industry, you always specify your IP here. You don't allow from anywhere. And then it is you can say SSD. So we are keeping a 25 GB of storage in our server. And then I think we are good to go. We will launch our instance. In the meantime, let me discuss one of the most important things in the networking. The first one is DNS. So what is DNS? So whenever every server in the world has an IP, and no one has a public host name. So what DNS do? DNS provides a domain to an IP. For example, if you want to it is very difficult for everyone to remember the IPs of Google.com, Netflix, AWS, Facebook, Instagram. So to make the things easy, DNS came and it provides the domain to every IP. So one domain can point to multiple IPs, and same one IP can be pointed by multiple domains. The second thing is because we are using HTTP server, it's a REST server. So to most of the thing, port 80 and port 443. So the default port of HTTP is 80 and the default port of HTTP is 443. It is not necessary that HTTP requests always follow port 80, but it is a tradition, it is a common practice that HTTP official HTTP port is port 80. Okay, so let's check our VM. So it is in the running state. And one of the thing that I discussed that every server has an IP. So let's assign an IP to this server. So, okay, let me describe an AWS a little bit more. On the left side, you can see a sidebar. So in instances, you can see all of your instance. Also, you can also say it remote servers, virtual machines. Instance types are the categories. For example, you are getting a 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM. Then these are the advanced things. So for beginners, let's skip this. Volumes are the storage. For example, it is SSD, it is hard disk. So volumes are the storage. And then networking and security. Security groups are, I've already explained, it is the inbound and outbound controlling traffic. Then elastic IPs. So elastic IPs, by elastic IP, we can assign an IP to a server which will be persistent on the reboot. AWS also provides you an IP to servers, but when you reboot the server, it gets changed. So let's assign this IP. Let's choose the instance. It's the notebook backend that we have all that we made right now, and associate. So when I went back to my instance and when I check this elastic IP, now I have an elastic IP. By this, I can access my uh, virtual server from anywhere in the world. So let's start accessing it and let's work. So it, it is a syntax of SSH that you will first write the user, then you will write the IP, and then you will specify your SSH key. So this is the notebook.pem. This is the SSH key that I downloaded when I created the VM. So notebook.pem is the same file that I used that I downloaded. Okay. So I'm on Windows right now. Let's see if I can use my Ubuntu WSL here. Or in the meantime, I can So now I connect my EC2 instance. So the error I was getting, it was of the permissions of the Windows, because the access key is a very private thing and it's a secure thing. So if it has the permissions of everything, like anyone can read it, can execute it, so Windows does not allow you to use it for authentication. So now it is simple server. First of all, because our repo is on the GitHub, same not backend. It is the same repo that I showed you in the VS Code. So let's first check that. Do we have Git? Yes, we have the Git. Okay. Then we will clone our repo. Git clone. Okay, so one important thing that I want to discuss here is that you can see that I have my .env file here, which has secrets in it, but this .env file is not pushed to the GitHub. So this is used for securing your credentials, your important things. You will never push your .env file to the GitHub. You will always make a some example .env file, and you will push it. But whenever you want to deploy something, you will create envs there. So we will first create a .env file. I will be just using this one. Okay, and now we want to install our npm packages. I use the Node.js because I think it is most of the simplest thing. Uh, and also most of the universities teach the Node.js. So that's why I take Node.js, but it doesn't matter. You are working on Nest, you are working on .NET or some Python. Steps are more or less same. Everyone has some environment variables. Everyone has built some packages to install before running your application. So I'm now installing the packages. So this is a new VM, so we will not be having Node.js in it. So let's install Node.js. So I've already kept this URL for installing Node.js. I took it from the internet. So it downloads the Node.js setup and then it executes it. So Node.js will get installed. It will not install, it will get only added in my packages. And then I will install it with the second command. So now we have Node.js and also we have NPM. So Node.js and NPM are the key things for running or installing the packages of our backend that is in the Node.js that's in the Node.js environment. So I think we are good here to run our environment. Let's npm run start. Okay, we need to install our packages first. In the meantime, if anyone has a question, he can raise his hand and can ask it. So it is shown that that our server is running on port number 5000 and the DB is connected. So let's check it. We will take our IP. This is our IP, and we have run our server on 5000. So you will notice a thing that it is saying that the server is running on port 5000, but when I access the port 5000, it is not working. So the reason for it is the security groups I mentioned. If I go into the security groups, so you can see that only the inbound traffic is allowed on port 22. So by default, at every other port other than 22 is blocked. So we will allow the traffic on port number 5000. And for now, because we will allow it from everywhere, so 0.0.0.0/0 is the indication that you are allowing this security group to get traffic from everywhere in the world. So let's save it, and now refresh. So you can see that now we are getting the message, hello coders of DevOps session. So now our backend is running on a virtual server that is hosted by AWS. So Ikra, if anyone is raising hands and have some questions, we can cater that. Okay, one of the thing that I want to mention is that npm run start is not a good command for running your application. The main reason is that it is an interactive session. So if I press Control plus C, my server will also get stopped. So now if I do Control R, it is still loading because now it's stopped. So for deploying a node server, we will install a package known as pm2.
लेक्चर ले रहा हूँ लाइव है
Sorry to cut you off. I do have a question. We do have
Yes.
deployed the front end on Virtual and other on AWS. Uh, we can deploy both on AWS as well, or it is specific for backend only to deploy
No.
things on AWS.
AWS, we can deploy almost everything on the AWS front ends, back ends. We can host our storages there. The reason I'm deploying on AWS and I've deployed front end on the Virtual is to give knowledge about two cloud platforms. Virtual is one of the most widely known for front end deployment, and it also provides a built-in CI/CD. That's why I went front end deployment with the Virtual. But you can also deploy front end on the AWS as well. AWS offers multiple services that can host front end.
Okay, got it. And second question is that you have mentioned earlier in CI/CD the continuous delivery. Basically, we have to run some test cases over that. What type of that test cases need to be validated before deployment?
Uh, Ali, can you ask again?
Yes,
There
yeah,
was echo
I
in your
will.
voice.
Yeah, yeah. Is my voice is clear?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking that in continuous delivery, we do have to run some tests before
Yes.
deployment. So, what
Yes.
kind of these tests are required, and why are we using these tests? Because developer just uh, commit the code and it was already tested. So, what type of in the environment setup, what kind of tests these are running with, on the backend side?
Okay, so right now, because it is a very basic session, so we are not catching the test cases or the test things. We are only building the application and deploying it. But when a developer writes code, he also writes unit test cases, integration test cases that are run in the CI/CD to validate that everything is okay. But right now, we are not doing that thing.
Okay, okay.
Maybe in
Thank
the
you.
future session we can do the test cases as well.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So now we are starting our server using PM2. So one of the most important thing that PM2 offers is that it gives us the real-time CPU usage, it gives us the memory usage, and also it gives us the logs. So these are the logs, and it is also running our server in the backend. So if if the backend crashes due to some exception, it will auto restart our backend. So that's why I showed the PM2 thing, that it is a good thing. Only starting through npm run start is not a good tradition. So even I have closed the terminal, but if I access this IP on port number 5000, we are still good. So right now, our frontend is deployed, our backend is deployed, but the most important thing that our backend is not secure. So what is meant by secure? Secure is that whenever a route is called of the backend, the traffic will not be encrypted. For example, if you are logging into the system, you have added your password and email. So in the network layer, if some hacker or intruder picks up your username and password, he can do the login as well because your credentials are not encrypted. So for encrypting it, we will be adding Nginx, that is a reverse proxy. It will encrypt and decrypt the data. And encryption and description is always done by some key, some certificates, anything like that. So we will be getting those certificates using certbot. Let's Encrypt. So Let's Encrypt is a well-known, you can say, a company or a library that offers you free certificates of your domains. So first, let's deploy the Nginx on the server. For that, okay, by the way, I have added my domain, and I have also pointed my domain. So this is my domain. I have added in my DNS, and I have also pointed it towards my VM IP. So this is the 67.50. It is the same IP. Where is it? It is the IP of my server. So if any traffic goes onto this domain, it will get redirected towards my IP. So let's use a web proxy here. So let me explain the Nginx. By the way, Nginx is widely known. So what is a reverse proxy? In production or in any environment, you never expose your application, no even it is front end or back end, you never expose your app on some IP or directly. You always put some or proxy in front of it. The work of that proxy is to do rate limiting, is to do authentication, or is to do some like these things. It will help to protect your app. Because someone is drawing red lines on the screen.
Let me check.
Okay, I think that we are clear with the Nginx or reverse proxy. If someone has questions regarding Nginx or reverse proxy, he can ask or she can ask. Someone is drawing lines. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam.
Sir, I am a little bit confused about load balancing and reverse proxy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can say that load balancer is a subtype of reverse proxy. This load balancer is also a reverse proxy, but a web proxy is a very big thing. It offers you rate limiting. It offers you load balancing as well. So you can say that load balancer is also a web proxy. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Basically, it's just distribute the connections to different types of server to just handle the requests.
Exactly. So the load balancers that are provided uh, by the public clouds like EBL or some like AWS, Azure, on the back end, all are also web proxies. So we will be installing Nginx. That is our web proxy. Now we will check that is our web proxy working. So it is active and running. So by the way, Nginx has a default port of port 80. So if I go to port number 80, it will keep loading because port 80 is not added on our security groups. So let's add it. So it is port 80 and we will allow it from everywhere. Also, we'll add the HTTPS because in on the end we will also be adding SSL certificates. So I'm adding both of these rules. So now if I will check it, port number 80, we can see that welcome to Nginx. So it is a indication that our Nginx proxy is running on port 80. So now what we want to do? We want to do that if any request comes on port 80, we will redirect it to our backend that is running on port number 5000. So for that, now things will get a little bit tricky. We will be adding some Nginx configurations. These Nginx configurations will be seem difficult to you, but if you go to the website or documentation, you will understand that these are very basic and very easy. So what I am doing that I am creating a template file in the site's available folder of the Nginx that you will get at this site. And this in this file we have written that so this is a template of Nginx. Okay. So let me explain this configuration. So if any request comes on port 80 and if it matches with this domain, so we will pass the traffic from port 80 of the server to the local host of port number 5000. On 5000, our backend is running. And under these things, all of these variables are for what are for things that we want to forward the real client IP, we want to forward every header, we want to forward connection upgrade, for example, WebSocket, if the connection is a WebSocket, so we will upgrade it and we will keep the connection as it is. So in short, if any request will come on port 80 of the VM and it matches this domain, we will forward our traffic to port number 4000. Let's save it. Okay, something is wrong with it. Okay. We need to do with sudo. I have pasted the same content. And now we will also copy the same file from sites available to sites enabled. In Nginx, there are two things. One is the sites available that you want to cater with, Nginx. You want the sites you want to cater with Nginx, and then there are sites enabled. The sites availables are, they can be sites that you want to block, that you want to keep in the Nginx, but you don't want to cater it. So we will just copy the template from sites available to sites enabled. So if I do this folder, you can see the same file exists here also. So if I makes any change here, it will also reflect changes here. This is the power of ln. You can also say that it is a soft copy. So if I change something here, it will also be changed here. And now I will delete the default page, the thing that we were getting shown on the Nginx when I was accessing the port number 80 of VM. So let's check for server status. Then what is the status? So it is active. Now let's go to our website. And as you can see, that it that welcome to Nginx was shown on port number 80. And now if I restart it, so we are getting hello coders of DevOps session. So also if I paste my domain here, the HTTP, okay, so it is HTTP. Let's open it in the incognito. So incognito, the traffic is going to this domain. From our DNS, it is redirected to our server, and from there, the traffic is getting accepted on port number 80, and Nginx is then redirecting the traffic from port 80 to port number 5000. And you can see an important thing here, that is not secure. So it is showing that your connection to this site is not secure, and you should not enter any sensitive information. So now we want to make our website, our backend secure. For that, we will be using a certbot. So what's a certbot? I've already explained that it works with Let's Encrypt, and it will provide the SSL certificate to the Nginx. For example, if we go to any website on AWS, and if we do this, we will be shown that connection is secure. So we want to apply the same thing on our website, that connection is secure. For that, we need to add some certificates. Like you can see that here, we can show that certificate is valid, and if you show that it is issued by Amazon. So what this certificate will do? This certificate will ensure that any traffic that will be coming to our backend will be encrypted. So if someone's get our credentials from the network layer, it will be encrypted, and he or she will do nothing, can do nothing. So let's work with certbot. So these are the very basic commands. This, but you will see this seems to be very difficult for you guys. But for me or someone who has worked with the Linux system, it is a daily task. So for us, for anyone who works on the daily basis, these are a very basic command, just like the Windows. Let's suppose you want to open some folder in Windows. You know that you will open your PC. You will go into my PC. You will open local disk C or D and will open the folder. Same is the case with the Ubuntu. When you will work on a regular basis, you will get these commands by yourself. So we have installed this. Now we want the certificates. It is requiring my IP or my email. Let's give it my email. From the service and on the search successful with electronic. No, we don't any advertisements. So we have achieved the certificates. It shows us that our certificates are saved at this thing, and its key is this. And if we see our Nginx configuration again, that was so it changed the configuration. Now what it is doing, let me explain it. So it is listening on port number 443, and it also checked that if any request comes on port 443 and it comes on this domain, which is of my backend domain, then it will encrypt or decrypt the data from this certificate that we generated using certbot. And when every encryption, decryption, it will be done, everything will be done, then it will redirect our traffic towards our backend, port number 5000. So by this, we have added our SSL certificates on our domain. So if we go to our, let's first restart our Nginx systems. Here, restart Nginx. And if I press enter, then you can see that hello coders of DevOps session. And now our backend, it is getting deployed on a real domain, which have SSL certificates in it. So if you see that that our certificates are issued by Let's Encrypt, and now any traffic that will be coming to our server will be totally encrypted, and now we are safe. So as we have deployed our application on port 80 and 443, so we don't need port number 5000 directly, so we can delete it. You can still see that our website will be working. And now if I go to my this, the request that was failing before because we haven't deployed our backend at that time. If I make the request from front end again, it got succeeded. Okay. So the main purpose of deploying front end on the Vercel was to show that doing the CI/CD, all the thing that we did on AWS manually, getting the certificates, adding the web proxies, reverse proxies, is done automatically by the Vercel. On the second side, we have to create EC2 manually, then we have to create SL certificates, builds, everything manually. So this is a normal thing that was done before DevOps, and this is DevOps on the Vercel. So you can see that there is a hell of a difference between both of these, but you have to, most of the time, you have to do this thing that I did manually, because on the first time you will always do manual and then you will automate it using CI/CD. So okay, let's do another thing. So if I edit this thing on my front end repo. Continue to hide notebook. From DevOps session. Okay, so I have added the code. Now I want to deploy it on the cloud. I just have to commit it on my main branch. Made some changes. I will commit it and I will push it. So if I go to the Vercel mm, and deployments, so you can see that here another build is triggered just now due to my new commit. And now if I go to this thing, so my new commit has been deployed. Like it was in 5 seconds, it get deployed. No, this is not the duration. In a matter of seconds, it get the source code get from the GitHub, it builds it and it deploys on the server. So that's, and if I go to this and refresh my page, you can see login to continue to iNotebook from DevOps session. So this is the power of DevOps, that it automates everything so fastly. Like in a matter of second, you can build your code from your local PC and you can deploy it on the production environment. By the way, in industry and production, the practice note this. There are multiple environments. First you have to take approvals from team lead, from project managers that are we ready to go on production. You have to do testing on the QA environment. You have to do the user acceptance testing, and then when everything is done, then you will go to the production. So, Ikra, we can take questions if anyone wants.
I do have a small question. Do you have added any logic on backend side for the decryption of the code? Like, you have added Nginx to encrypt the code from the front end side to hide the credentials. So on the backend side, do you have added any decryption part as well, or it will be only handled by Nginx?
Okay. So Ali, there are two or three types of encryption. Uh, One is the encryption that is done on the backend. That is, for example, of the JW authentication, that the data is encrypted by some key, and it will be decrypted at the same side. But in the case of certificates that I acquire from the certboard and added in Nginx, it makes sure that any traffic that is coming from the front end is encrypted. So right now everything is encrypted and getting decrypted from the Nginx server. So whenever an HTTP call is made, first the data is not go to the backend in the first call. First an handshake is made in which certificates and keys get exchanged, and then the real data gets encrypted and will transfer from front end to backend. So everything is right now on the Nginx.
Bilal, please take a look at the chat. We have received a few questions there as well.
Okay. So someone has question, is there any database which offer 5 GB write data? I didn't get 5 GB write data, but if you are questioning that 5 GB of storage, yes, obviously there are databases that even offers terabytes of data. And yes, they also offer that 5 GB, if you are referring to 5 GB per second internet speed, also yes. Backend is free or paid. Okay. So right now, AWS also offering a free tier for 6 months. It lets you some of its resources for free. For example, if you want to make a very small server, if you want to use some of the basic services, they are free for you. But if you are using uh, some high-end specs, then obviously it will cost you. So before making anything, make sure that it comes under the free tier. Okay, Laiba has asked, can you tell how are you developing and which tools are you using? So the repos that front end and back end, I took it from some public GitHub. And which tools are on the front end, we are using React. On the back end, it's Node and Express. And for the DevOps, I have explained everything. Okay, how you did this mapping IP with domain. So whenever you buy a domain, you get its name servers. And whenever you want to point some domain towards an IP, you go into your portal. I am not showing this portal here. So, for example, on GoDaddy or on Namecheap, for example, if you buy a domain from Namecheap, then you have option on the Namecheap to forward that domain to some IP, so that if any traffic comes on the domain, specific domain, it will forward it to that IP. And you can also make subdomains. For example, the thing that I made, it is a subdomain. Empeer.tech is a main domain, and the DevOps Decoded.Empeer, it's a subdomain. Did you added any logic for description on backend for payload? It's a code thing. I didn't did anything. Okay, can you explain DB, how all data will be going into a local host or what DB? Okay, so for the MongoDB, there is a service called MongoDB Atlas. MongoDB Atlas. Okay, so MongoDB Atlas provides you free Mongo databases. So right now I am using that. So you can log into the MongoDB Atlas and you can make free databases there, and it also gives you a connection string, and the same connection string I have also this is the connection string which is provided me by the MongoDB Atlas, and this is MongoDB Atlas. So it is very normal, very basic UI. You will go into you will create a simple project and you will create a DB. I have created a notebook DB, so all of my data that is from the backend is going into the cloud database. Okay, I think these are the complete questions. Adam, do we have time for the backend CI/CD? We can make it on the GitHub. It will take 5 minutes.
I guess we are already short on time.
Okay.
Yes. But if anyone wanted to ask any question, they can raise their hand. I guess they can unmute their mic. And
Okay.
then there is one question, Bilal, in the chat, and that is regarding like whether you can guide what would be the path for junior DevOps engineer or someone who wants to pivot.
Okay, so one of the most important thing that I want to mention, in the last 1 year, the AI has evolved a lot of much. Okay, so all of this task that I did manually to show you guys, this can easily be done by an agent. For example, install a Copilot or Claude agent on the server and give it that we have this domain, we have this GitHub URL. It will deploy it by yourself. So the most important thing to get into the DevOps is to know the basics. I have discussed the basics, that are bash scripting, networking, because the most important thing is that when error comes in production, unfortunately AI can't help us right now. It is good, but when things get critical, it also gives us the wrong answers. So if you have strong bash scripts skills, you have strong networking skills, then you can work. And I think most important thing in the DevOps is understanding the Linux systems, Ubuntu, because almost 95% or 98% of the world hostings are on the Linux servers. They are Ubuntu, they are CentOS, they are Red Hat, but majorly they are all of the distributions of Linux. Other than that, CI/CD is a strong thing. We will also be doing it in the next part. Also, one of the most important thing is the containerization. We will be covering the containerization, that is Docker or Kubernetes. It is basically Docker. It is one of the most important thing because right now the thing that we deployed in the server in production things don't run like this. In production we don't clone our repos in the servers. We don't do Git authentication there. We just build our code. We build this Docker and push it to our remote repository of Docker. You can say Docker Hub or any cloud repository, and then uh, from the server we pull our artifact and only run that. So one of the most important thing is the understanding of containerization, that how networking works in the containers, the network of Linux system. So these are the essentials. When will be the next session? It will be inshallah in the next Saturday, in the next week. Aram, do we have any other question?
Uh, no, I guess we don't have any questions. But moving forward, if someone has any question, we can set it in the WhatsApp group. So Bilal can answer that later on. Yes. Over to you, Ikra.
Thank you so much, Bilal, for such an insightful and informative session. I hope everyone found today's session valuable and learned something new about DevOps and modern software development. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we will unmute your microphone. To give everyone a chance to participate, please ask only one question and avoid follow up discussions. If anyone has a question, please unmute my mic. Thank you everyone for your excellent questions and participation. Before we conclude, here's a quick reminder about our next session. Our next Our next DevOps Decoded session is Containerization and Cloud Orchestration Essentials. Topic include Docker fundamentals, Git and Docker, developments using Docker, Kubernetes 101. We hope to see all of you there. Please don't miss it. That brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you once again to our wonderful speaker Bilal Haider, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. We truly appreciate your time and participation. Please stay connected with Empeer Den through our social media platforms and community channels for upcoming events and learning opportunities. As we are ending the session, we can we please do a quick virtual selfie? Everyone kindly turn on video for a few seconds so we can capture this memory.
I guess the video sharing is disabled. Can you please enable that? So
I don't know, but my video camera is not working right.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you on next Saturday at 8 p.m. on our next session.